My name is RJ O'Connor, and I'm currently the owner of a 2013 Audi Allroad. And here's my review on the 2017 Audi A4, or in enthusiast circles known as the B9. Audi had a tough job to do. The facelifted Audi A4 from 2013 to 2016, known as the B8.5, is an amazing vehicle. It's just about the perfect formula. Good size vehicle, fun to drive, good power, not crazy expensive. So when it came time to come out with a new one, Audi had probably the toughest job it had, and that is to not screw up a winning formula. So now you have the 2017 A4. As good looking as the B8.5 or the previous generation A4 is, Audi sharpened it, and sharpen is the key word here. They sharpened the look of this car up significantly. There were more curves and just a little bit more, just a little softer as far as the design. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's a great looking vehicle. For 2017, you can't help but really like how Audi put a little bit more of a business look into the A4. It made it a little harder edge looking, made it look sharper. Tighten the lines. They've done this beautiful crease, this stamping down the side just below the driver's side door. It goes from the front headlight all the way to the rear tail light. That crease there just set off what makes this car look a little bit bigger, makes it look a little bit shorter, but it toughened up the design. The headlights, instead of the curve on the DRL, they now have hard edges. Another great design. The car that I'm driving here is an S-Line with the technology package. It's got all the bells and whistles on it, except that it doesn't have the sport package on it. Things I really like about this car: the new TFT dash with all the fancy show that it puts on the dashboard for you. Tons of great information. It's easy to see, it's easy to read. My worry when I jumped into this thing for the first time yesterday is driving down the road, is this thing going to be a distraction to the point where I'm not actually paying attention to driving? And for me at least, no. It didn't distract me in the least. If anything, it put more information in front of me here that was quick, easy to read, and you're not glancing really off the road. Your line of sight stays the same, so that is brilliantly done. The other thing that I like is if you have it in big map mode, which, just click the view button on the dash and you can have the big map there. If you're trying to look for a place, the 3D Google Maps does a great job of giving you street names and being able to zoom in and out. If you get lost, it's because you probably can't read or you have no sense of direction, but that is super handy. And it goes without saying, the technology in the new car is fantastic. The screen especially. So if you're gonna pull the trigger and get a few options, go with the technology package. Get the TFT dash, the instrument cluster. Huge winner. The other thing I would say go for is upgrade to the LED headlight system. Go with the full LED. The xenon is nice. I have xenons on my Allroad. The LED headlights are just that much better. Last night was driving through a bunch of rain, and actually had some pretty heavy rain here on the south end of town, and the LEDs just do such a nice job of just slicing through that and eliminating some of the glare reflection that you get from the xenons. So big winner there. I'm glad to see Audi is pulling some of that LED technology down from the A8 and the A7 down to this. The other big technology winner, especially for me, is now the new Mmi system. One of the things with Mmi and technology for me is I will purposely not read the owner's manual on the technology in that part, the Mmi, because I want to check to see if it's intuitive, if it's easy to use. And if it's easy enough for me to use, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed when it comes to this stuff, but if I can navigate through this stuff easily and find what I'm looking for and not have to do an excessive amount of fumbling around with it, then the system's a winner. If you're an iPhone user like I am, the minute you plug the phone into your system, it immediately activates Apple Carplay in the Mmi and gives you full access to your phone book. But the other thing that I found that was really, really helpful and took the distraction out of it is texting and driving. I see it all the time. People do. It's amazingly stupid to see people do this. Now, the Google CarPlay or the Apple CarPlay that is in here, the nice thing there is if you get a text message, you'll get an alert that you have a text message, and then the system will read it to you. And then it'll ask you if you want to respond, and then you just speak your words, and then it'll read it back to you, and then ask you if you want to send it, and off you go. It probably still takes a little bit of brain power to be able to do that, but I wouldn't say replying to a text was in any way distracting doing it through the CarPlay way. And like I said, the system is fast, it's quick. A lot of these infotainment system types, especially in Jaguars, they're just really slow, so it takes forever to go from one function to the next. This one here in the new A4, just rapid fire. It's boom, 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 and you're through it. It's very, very easy. The other thing that I like is the simplification that has been done on the climate control system. You have 2 knobs and 5 buttons, and you're able to click through and do all of that, and see pictures of it, and play with it yourself. It is very easy, super simple, and like right now I'm in my driving position, and the knob for temperature adjustment, AC, all of that, it's just right where it needs to be. On the ergonomics part of it, that's basically where's everything positioned so that it's comfortable for you. I actually would put this on par, and this is probably a little more car nerdy. I think ergonomically the best car that ever had the layout was the E39 BMW 5 Series. And for those of you, that's the 5 Series that went from 1997 to 2003, I believe. For me, the layout of the dash, the controls, everything were perfect, and I find this to be about 95% of that. My overall impression, the car feels lighter, it drives better. Audi has obviously had their brain room, their brainiacs working on how to make the electric steering better, because this one actually doesn't feel like you're driving a PlayStation. This one you can actually feel a little bit of the road surface imperfection. It's not perfect, I'm not going to say that, but as far as being able to feel the road underneath you and what your car is doing, Audi's done a great job of being able to get that into the steering wheel again, which for people who love to drive and have to have that road feel, the old hydraulic systems gave that to you. The electric systems took them away, and this one is great. I like Audi's new basic 3-spoke wheel. I've never been a fan of the basic 4-spoke wheel on the previous generation A4. This 3-spoke wheel, just the usability, your hands sit perfectly. If you're a one-handed driver, you can always find a comfortable position for your hands and your fingers. Bonus points there. I have a 4-spoke wheel in my all-road, and sometimes where I want to have my hands and my fingers, one of the spokes is just in the way, and that doesn't make me nuts, but it's something I have to live with. My only criticism, and it's not really a criticism, is the new shifter. It's all electronic, so you gotta make sure you push the button in to go into reverse. You make sure you push the button to get into drive or into sport mode. If you drive this thing, or if you buy one, it's gonna take some getting used to, because even today when I was trying to pull out of my garage, I inadvertently put it in drive because I was just used to hitting the button and pulling the lever back, the gear selector back. And good thing I didn't hit the gas, or I would have, well, the folks at Prestige wouldn't have been happy about what happened to the front end of the car. No foul, no injury, no problem. But you just got to pay attention to that. And you don't have a traditional park that you put the gear selector in. It's a push button. There's a little bit of a learning curve to it. If you're someone who gets all upset if somebody moves your cheese, then that might make you a little crazy at first, but you'll get over it. Change isn't going to kill you. This one isn't going to kill you. You're going to like it. The new interior ambient lighting in the doors and under the seats and the center console and all that, I just found that to be pretty fun, pretty cool, and you're able to adjust it. My kids were riding around in the car last night, and they thought that was just a lot of fun. So there's fun things there. I do like how they do the vent look across the entire dash, and obviously something that's coming new since the Q7. The Bang & Olufsen sound system sounds awesome in this thing. You know, I don't get too caught up on sound systems. I think even in my all-road, I have the basic Audi concert system. Sounds great, works great, not a problem there. But the Bang & Olufsen system in here, it's bang on pretty awesome. Now, my favorite part of this car, and I can't talk about it enough, but the new engine and the 7-speed DSG pairing on this is a match made in automotive heaven. You really notice a difference in the 252 horsepower version now in the new 2017 A4 over the 210 or even 220 horsepower in the previous generation A4. The DSG in this, I know some people, you know, they gravel a little bit about it, but this thing is smooth. It is super smooth. When you're cruising along normally, the shifts are nearly imperceptible. When you're on it and you're in sport mode and you're wanting to drive the beans out of this thing, the shifts are just lightning quick, and it is so much fun to drive. This car has the flappy paddles on it. Again, if you want to play and have fun while you're driving this thing, I'm telling you, the money alone for the engine and the transmission is worth it. It is such, not that the previous engine was bad. I mean, it's paired up with that 8-speed Aisin transmission, and it's a great combination. I'm real happy with it. But this new 252 horse, and the fact that this thing, I believe, is 200-300 pounds lighter than the previous generation, it feels lighter. It's much more tossable. Because of the changes they've made to the suspension and increased the wheelbase a little bit, this thing feels much more planted to the ground. It feels like a bigger, more substantial car, but it still drives like a little sports car. It's really, really fun. You get on the gas, this engine, and I don't know if Audi's pumping in any kind of artificial sound, but you get a nice deep growl when you're on it. This car makes you want to drive it. It makes you want to drive it a little faster than you probably should. So be responsible. But if you get a chance to take this out in the middle of nowhere and have fun with it and stretch its legs a little bit, you're not going to be disappointed. That's all I'm saying. I'm not condoning speeding. Stick to the speed limits. But let's just say, hypothetically, you needed to go for a run. Go for the run.